Hey guys, my name's Wyatt, and today I'm here to talk to y'all about forgiveness. And I'm going to be doing that through the story of Joseph, and then I'm going to read a little bit of scripture from the Bible, and then we're going to talk more about forgiveness and talk about a few ways that we can practice forgiveness in our everyday lives. So, let's begin. Joseph was the youngest of many brothers, and now his brothers really didn't like him that much. They thought he was different, thought he acted a little weird and strange, and overall just didn't really treat him like you would treat a brother or a sister. And so what his older brothers decided to do was they decided to sell him off to the Egyptians. And after a while, Joseph grew up with the Egyptians and eventually became a very important leader in the Egyptian society. Then one day his brothers came back to Egypt and they asked Joseph and the Pharaoh for help. And now Joseph had two options here whenever his brothers came to talk to him. He could have easily just told them no and sent them on his way. They weren't very nice to him, and it seems like the easy thing to do would just be to tell them no and not forgive them. But that's not what Joseph does, and that's not what God does either. So I'm going to read now from Genesis chapter 45, verses 14 through 15. This is what Joseph decides to do. He then fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, while Benjamin wept upon his neck. And he kissed all his brothers and wept upon them. And after this, the brothers talked with him. So what Joseph decides to do, instead of be mad and angry at his brothers, he decides to weep with them. He decides to hug them. He decides to kiss them. He decides to forgive them. Now, forgiveness is not an easy thing to do. And believe me, I know. There have been many times in my life where people have either wronged me or I've wronged others. And forgiveness doesn't come easy. I remember this one time when I was in elementary school. My best friend at the time wasn't being very nice to me. He was saying a lot of mean things about me, just wasn't being a good friend. And this was one of my friends who I had grown up with for a long time. We played basketball together, we played Minecraft together, we did everything together. He was one of my best friends. And here he was, saying lots of mean things about me and not seemingly wanting to be my friend anymore. And that really hurt. It didn't make a lot of sense and it didn't seem fair. But eventually, he realized his mistakes and he came to me and asked me for forgiveness. And now, it would have been very easy for me, like Joseph, to just been, sorry man, like, you were mean to me. You wronged me. You said mean things about me. You were not a good friend to me. Why should I be your friend again? But that's not what I did, and that's not what you should do either. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. Like I said, it's very hard to forgive people. Whenever someone's wronged you or been mean to you or called you names, it is very, very easy to not forgive them. And that's definitely what the world wants you to think also. But that's not what God calls us to do, and that's not how we should behave. God calls us to love one another as brothers and sisters, and to take care of one another, and to be kind to one another. And that includes those people who have not been very nice to you in the past. Now, how can you go about applying forgiveness in your everyday life? Well, there are many things you can do. Number one, you can be the person to reach out to those people who you have maybe said some not nice things to or not been very kind to. We all have said things and acted rude to people and have not been the best friends or brothers or sisters or daughters or sons to people. And that's okay. We all make mistakes. We're not perfect. And so the best thing you can do in those situations, just ask for forgiveness. Hopefully they'll give it back to you, but that's the best you can do. And for those people who have wronged you, reach out to them as well. Say, hey, look, I know you've been saying a lot of mean things about me and not being a good friend, but I forgive you, and I still love you, and I still care about you, and I still want you to be my friend. So another thing you can do is you can pray and ask God to help you find the courage to ask forgiveness, or that someone will be able to forgive you and that you will be able to forgive them. And so I do that best just by praying to God and just having a couple times during the day or once a night, just right before you go to bed. Just you're laying in bed, thinking about sleeping, and just talk to God like you would a friend. Just say, hey God, I would really like some forgiveness, or I would really like for this person to forgive me. And you know, it may not happen the next day, and it may take a while, but God works in mysterious ways, as they say. And eventually they'll come around and the courage will be given. So in your daily life, look to forgive those who have wronged you. Turn the other cheek and just be kind to one another. Thank y'all so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your time.